This first model is perfect for middle school, but it's perfect for middle school, high school, church choir, children's choir, community choir, church. Anybody can do model number one. It takes no money. It takes no commitment to being a certified music educator or a certified teacher. It takes nothing but a person who is a choral conductor and is willing to add some people to a few rehearsals for a few concerts. Anybody can use this, and I have used it for 20 years. It can be powerful. The second model is a partnership with a university and a school, the entire arts program. The third model is an entire urban district. And I have people here from that district. They're the last half of our day. You're going to be amazed. I will tell you that I've long thought, what would I do if I could be queen? And they said, make the schools of New York City, or make the schools of Miami, or make the schools of Houston better. And I've often thought, I'm not sure that can be done. After our middle school Memphis partnership, I'm very confident that within some parameters that urban schools that are struggling mightily can be changed. I'm positive because I've seen it. So I hope that you will look at these three models and understand the one difference among these and other programs you might have tried. If I choose to volunteer and go into a school and do things with those kids, I think it's better. But the minute that I stop coming, their problem is right back where it was. All of you can say, well, I'm going to go, or I'm going to take my choir, and we're going to go do some stuff with those kids. When you stop coming, they're back to zero. These three models hinge upon changing the teacher. If we go in and invest, whether I go alone, I take my students, you go, you take your students. If you invest in something and also the teacher is changed, when you leave, guess who still is there? The teacher. So keep that focus. When we change a teacher, we change a culture. So number one, it's short term, it's free, etc. I already said that. So short term, how do you do adopt a choir? I started with an at-risk 9th grade choir, early 90s on the go, and things were not going well. It was a young teacher, and she said, you know, I'm about to die up here. So I said, how about we visit? I took my choir. Those university students sat with sassy little children to leave me out in the choir, and we did an APA rehearsal. We worked on some music that I picked, whether they liked it or not. We did some activities, and then we worked on some more music that I picked, whether they liked it or not. And they did not like it initially. They were just like, this is not fun. After about 2 or 3 times visiting, usually 6 times, 4 times, 8 times, depending on how hard it is, my students in my choir, they are not music ed majors necessarily. They might be, but they could be a non-music major. They could be a piano major. It's just whoever wants community service bonus points signs up, and we go. They get their little buddies, we rehearse. The high school kids, I've done primarily high school with this, almost some middle school. They love, very quickly, having a university buddy sit beside them. The B part in the middle, when the teaching goes on, is decided by the teacher. A partnership means that people have equal opportunities. It's not the person at the university would be the goddess and decide, and you'll do what you're told. That's not a partnership. That's probably like a little monarchy or something like that. It has to be a partnership so that there's equal input and people are equally responsible, equally happy. So the music teacher tells me what needs to be worked on. The first one was sight reading. So my kids are individually with 1 and 2 kids sitting with them, practicing hand signs. These were children that hated sight reading. Couldn't do it was not the issue. They couldn't do it, didn't want to do it, and pretty much hated anybody that thought they might make them do it. So they were at 0 or below. Fine. So my little happy students had to start doing this and see what could happen. What we quickly figured out was the reason kids hated it was because they did not understand at all what was going on. There is no piano keyboard inside their head. I didn't know anyone that didn't take piano when I was a child. Many children don't know anyone who does take piano. It's a different world. They need different training. They need individual feedback. How long would it take a teacher to give the individual feedback to acquire 30 that we can do with 20 kids? It would take weeks and weeks of individually working with kids. A teacher does not have that kind of time. A college kid goes, no, 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 this is do, and you're showing me so. No, this is do. What does do sound like? T is right under. No, you went way down under. It's just barely under. Even just silly little beginning things like that. immediate constant feedback. If you go to the effective teaching literature, there it is, immediate constant feedback. That's what happens when people learn quickly and improve. The teacher will decide that. I've adopted some choirs that were excellent. The teacher said, you know, we want to do a little mass, but it might take more time than these intermediate high school girls need to spend. But if we do it with your choir, I don't have to work on it so long, and they can still have it. And it's a wonderful experience. That particular time, they worked on parts of the Mass generally, and how is this Mass put together differently, and my students taught that. We've had teachers ask, please work on tone. I'm a piano teacher, my high notes suck, is how they phrased it. And so my students worked on tone. There are a lot, it doesn't matter what you work on, it matters that university kids are sitting with kids that have been adopted, and they are giving them opportunities to interact and sing. The beauty of this is your concert cannot fail. I'm going to say that again. The beauty of this is your concert cannot fail. My choir is good. They don't walk on the stage if they're not good. So they're already going to be good as long as we ease these other kids in and work for as close to perfection as we can. They're not going to mess it up. Their voices are younger, smaller. If somebody's playing them up, we just up our volume. There is no way they can ruin the concert. It is success. What is it that low-achieving schools need? They need achieving. How do they achieve? Put them with a choir that's good. This isn't rocket science, is it? This is not rocket science. Okay, so I will say to you that we've had lots of students leave FSU, and I've heard of the most amazing partnerships. One teacher that is not an FSU student, that's a teacher I just came to know in South Carolina, said her 8th grade choir adopted a nursing home. Now, I've never had the nerve to adopt a nursing home because I'm thinking of the concert. Remember, my goal has to be a good concert. I probably am flawed with the nursing home. We probably need to change our value system. But I said, well, is that going to work? She said, my kids are excited because my kids are wealthy and lucky and entitled, and they need to know that they are lucky and wealthy and they're not entitled. They owe the world. And I want them to learn some social things. What a great teacher. And I don't know how the concert went. I don't even care. We're going to let that one go. But anybody can be adopted. I have adopted senior citizens choirs. I have adopted most anything that stands still, I would adopt. So model number one, if you are a university choral director and I'm not a music educator, okay, great. If you have rehearsals, you can do adopt a choir. If you like people, you can do adopt a choir. Your students will enjoy working with that. And I'm over my limit, but my last thing is FTE. Is my here college teacher? FTE is a big deal. When I first got to FSU, they heard someone new was coming, 22 children exactly signed up for my choir. And the dean thought, we're like 100, and I'm now panicked. I worked about 3 or 4 years diligently doing all the recruiting stuff people do. We went to the dorms and did little mini skits. We did nail outs for ACDA. We did everything we could, and I got up to about 45 or 50. Only when I started doing adopt a choir. My top year was 104. My numbers quickly shot 80, 90. Kids flock to that. Every music therapy major in the universe will knock on your door and beg to be in your choir. Kids enjoy working with other students. So adopt a choir is something that works. If you don't have much money, you are a director of choral activities, and you can't just be wearing the music ed hat. It works. There's no excuse for not taking care of business. Model number 2.